You know, millions of merchants right now think picking between Shopify's three biggest print-on-demand apps, Printful, Printify, and Gelato, is basically like picking between Coke, Pepsi, and RC Cola.
Right, like it's just the exact same soda poured into different cans.
Exactly. I mean, they assume it's all the same. They all install for free on your store. They all print your digital designs on physical T-shirts and mugs, and they all ship to your customers.
Yeah, on the surface it looks identical.
Right. So the assumption out there is that choosing one over the other is really just a matter of personal preference. Maybe you like the interface better or whatever. But honestly, that assumption is a massive trap. Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving into a comprehensive 2026 guide on these three giants today, and our mission for this deep dive is to completely cut through the slick marketing pages.
Because you really have to. The marketing is designed to blur the lines.
It totally is. We need to look at the real numbers, the actual production models, and the back-end strategies that are genuinely going to dictate your profit margins. Because whether you are launching a brand new merchandise line today, or you're trying to scale up an existing brand that already has traction, treating these platforms as interchangeable is either going to silently bleed your profits dry or just completely ruin your brand's reputation.
Oh, absolutely. Because the reality is they are fundamentally different business models that are basically masquerading as the exact same software. I mean, from the outside, sure, you install the app, the interfaces look incredibly similar, the product mock-ups look identical in your store, but under the hood, the engines driving these platforms operate on completely, totally different supply chain philosophies.
Which is wild when you think about it.
It is, and to understand how much your products are ultimately going to cost you, which is what you actually care about, you have to understand the foundational difference in the mechanics of how and where your products are physically manufactured.
Right, so let's break down those three distinct production models. And I actually love using the food industry as an analogy here.
It's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, so think of Printful as a traditional, vertically integrated bakery. Like, they own the ovens, they own and operate 7 of their own fulfillment centers across North America and Europe, plus they have these partner sites in places like Brazil, Japan, and Australia.
Right.
So when an order comes into your Shopify store and routes over to Printful, it goes directly to a physical facility that Printful owns to be printed on machines that Printful actually bought by staff that Printful employs. They control the physical printing press.
And that's a huge distinction. Because they own the physical press, they inherently control the operational standards.
Exactly.
You are getting a closed in-house quality control loop. Like, if a print head is misaligned on a Tuesday morning, their own staff walks over and fixes it. But, and this is the catch, vertically integrated businesses carry massive overhead.
Oh, huge overhead.
Right, you're talking about owning real estate, leasing industrial equipment, paying a full-time workforce across multiple continents. And that overhead, that is baked right into the base cost of their products. So basically, you are paying a premium for that centralized control.
Which brings us perfectly to Printify, whose whole model just bypasses that overhead entirely.
Yep.
If Printful is the traditional bakery, then Printify is like a food delivery network. Think Uber Eats or DoorDash.
They don't own the kitchens.
Exactly. They do not own the kitchens. Printify is essentially a software marketplace. It routes your customer's order to roughly 80 independent third-party print providers scattered all over the globe.
Right, so you're acting as a dispatcher.
Yeah, when you build a product in Printify, you are actively choosing between different local print shops, like, Monster Digital or Swift POD, based on who offers the lowest base cost or maybe the fastest processing time that week.
It is pure decentralized manufacturing via software routing, which is brilliant, honestly. When an order hits your store, Printify's API sends it to the specific third-party provider that you selected.
And what happens if they're out of stock?
Well, that's the beauty of the network. If that primary provider runs out of, say, a medium black t-shirt, Printify's routing algorithm can just automatically kick the order over to a backup provider in the network to prevent any fulfillment delays.
Oh, wow. So it self-corrects.
Exactly. You get massive catalog diversity and really aggressive price competition among the providers. But the trade-off is that the quality of the final product is entirely dependent on the specific third-party facility that actually fulfills the order.
Right. And then you have Gelato, which just operates on a totally different wavelength from both of them.
Yeah, Gelato is its own beast.
It is. Gelato is like a hyper-local franchise model, making sure there's always a kitchen literally right next door to your specific customer. They connect over 140 partners across 32 different countries. The entire algorithmic goal of Gelato's routing is to print the product as physically close to the end buyer as possible.
Just completely bypassing international borders and long transit times altogether.
Right.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the sheer scale of this industry explains why these three distinct models are fighting so incredibly hard for dominance right now.
The numbers are insane.
They really are. The broader print-on-demand market was valued at $12.96 billion back in 2025. And by 2035, it is projected to hit nearly $118.85 billion.
Almost $120 billion. That's just staggering.
It's massive. And when an industry scales toward $100 billion, that massive influx of capital aggressively drives corporate consolidation. The stakes for capturing merchant volume are so astronomically high that the biggest players just inevitably start buying each other out.
Which brings us to the absolute elephant in the room. And honestly, this is something that a lot of older e-commerce guides online completely miss right now.
Oh yeah, they're so outdated on this.
Right, because with billions of dollars on the line, we saw a massive consolidation. In November of 2024, Printful and Printify actually merged.
Yep.
They merged under a new parent company called FYUL. FYUL.
The big team up.
Exactly. And at the time, the CEO of Printify, Anastasia Wojcicka, she released a statement saying, and I quote, "Our combined company will give our merchants more top-quality products, more places to sell, more innovative solutions, and more growth and profit."
Sounds great on a press release.
Right. But here we are, it's July 2026, and they still operate as completely separate brands with entirely separate Shopify apps. And I am looking at this from a tech perspective and paying two totally separate development teams to maintain two distinct competing Shopify apps. It just makes zero financial sense. I mean, it seems super obvious that FYUL is eventually going to force all their merchants onto a single unified platform, right?
You'd think so, but actually a forced integration would probably destroy a significant portion of FYUL's market share.
Wait, really? Why?
Well, while maintaining two dev teams is definitely expensive, alienating half of your user base is fatal. The psychology of the merchant base for these two platforms is entirely split.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, think about it. Printify attracts highly margin-sensitive merchants. These are people who want to leverage marketplace competition to get the absolute lowest possible base cost on a standard t-shirt.
Right, the volume players.
Exactly. Printful, on the other hand, attracts premium brand builders. These merchants are totally willing to pay higher base costs in exchange for strict in-house quality control and, custom packaging.
So they can't just mash them together.
No, if FYUL shoved all those margin-focused marketplace merchants onto Printful's premium pricing tier, those merchants would instantly flee to cheaper competitors.
And vice versa.
Right. If they forced the premium brands onto Printify's decentralized network, the brands would leave due to a lack of guaranteed quality control. Keeping the platform separate allows the parent company to capture both ends of the market without cannibalizing their own user base.
That is fascinating.
So inside your Shopify dashboard, they operate under entirely different operational rules, and you absolutely must evaluate them independently.
Okay, so because they still operate separately, they are naturally still competing fiercely on price.
Oh, absolutely.
But the way base prices are advertised on these platforms is honestly incredibly deceptive.
It's all marketing.
It is. A provider's marketing page will boast about having the cheapest base price on a standard t-shirt while totally burying the cost of actually putting that shirt into a polymailer and handing it to the postal service. You really cannot look at base price alone.
You can't.
You have to run the math on the landed cost, which is the base price, plus the actual shipping fee.
Yes. The true landed cost strips away all the marketing illusions. We can actually run this through the industry standard baseline, what we call the t-shirt test.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's map out a standard Bella Plus Canvas 3001 t-shirt, and we are shipping it to a buyer located in the United States.
The classic scenario.
Right. So through Printful, your base cost for the shirt is $11.95, and the standard U.S. shipping fee is $4.75. That means your total landed cost is $16.70.
Okay, $16.70.
Now, through Printify's standard choice pricing model, the base cost for that exact same shirt is $11.29, with the exact same $4.75 shipping fee. So the total landed cost there is $16.04.
Okay, wait. So despite all the aggressive marketing out there about who offers the better margins, the actual difference on a single T-shirt shipped within the U.S. is literally 66 cents.
That's it?
I mean, for a new store selling low volume, that is essentially a tie.
On low volume, yes, it's a wash. But the financial mechanics drastically change the exact moment your store starts scaling up. The real margin manipulation happens through their subscription tiers. Both Printify and Printful use paid subscriptions to lower your product costs, but their structural approaches to those subscriptions cater to entirely different stages of business growth.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because Printify offers something called Printify Premium, and it costs $39 a month, or I think it's $24.99 a month if you pay up front for the whole year.
Yep, that's right.
And activating that subscription instantly shaves about $2.25 off the base cost of every single T-shirt. The math on that is super straightforward. It basically pays for itself if you sell just 12 T-shirts a month.
Which is a very low bar.
Very low. But the margin expansion is massive on heavier items. Like if you're selling hoodies, Printify Premium drops the base cost from $21.58 all the way down to $15.89.
That's a huge drop.
You literally pay off the monthly subscription fee by selling just 5 hoodies, and everything after that is pure margin expansion.
Exactly. It acts as an immediate profitability lever for high-volume stores that are pushing heavy apparel to a U.S. audience. It functions almost exactly like a wholesale discount club. Costco for T-shirts.
Right.
Printful, on the other hand, engineers their discounts around business growth milestones rather than just charging a flat monthly tax.
Right. Printful uses the growth plan, which technically is priced at $24.99 a month, and it unlocks up to 33% off their product catalog. But it actually functions as a revenue threshold, right?
Yes.
The moment your store clears $12,000 a year in sales volume, the growth plan becomes completely free. It is like signing up for a gym membership where the management suddenly says, hey, you managed to work out 100 times this year, so we are just waiving your monthly fee permanently.
Yeah, it actively rewards you for routing your sales volume strictly through their infrastructure without acting as a permanent drain on your operating cash flow.
That's really smart.
It is. But what's fascinating here is how Gelato completely rejects both of these standardized pricing models.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, if you go to Gelato's public catalog right now, today, they do not publish a standard-based price for their garments. Their pricing is hidden behind a dashboard login, and honestly, even then, it fluctuates.
Which immediately triggers a huge red flag for any merchant looking for predictable margins.
Right.
I mean, if a vendor hides the cost of goods, the natural assumption is that they are hiding high prices.
Right, it triggers a red flag right until you actually understand the back-end API mechanics of their decentralized network.
Walk us through that.
Remember, Gelato routes orders to 140 partners across 32 countries. They optimize for printing as physically close to the final destination as possible. Because of that, the base cost of the blank garment, the local currency exchange rates, the local labor costs, and the domestic shipping fees, they constantly shift.
Oh, because every location is different.
Exactly. It all shifts based on where the buyer is located and which specific local partner claims the job. They literally cannot publish a flat rate on a public webpage because producing a shirt in Sydney, Australia utilizes a completely different local supply chain than producing that exact same shirt in Berlin, Germany.
That makes total sense.
So you log into the dashboard, you input the product and the destination country, and their algorithm queries the network in real time to give you the exact landed cost for that specific route.
Okay, so we have spent a lot of time on the math here, but honestly, raw profit margins are totally irrelevant if the ink washes off the shirt after 2 laundry cycles.
Oh, exactly. A cheap shirt is useless if it's garbage.
Right, or if a high-end customer receives their, $60 hoodie stuffed into a generic translucent plastic bag. Building a premium brand requires strict quality control, and the structural differences between these platforms directly impact how your product looks when it actually lands on the customer's doorstep.
And this is where Printful shines. Because Printful operates those vertically integrated facilities, they maintain a massive structural advantage in consistency. Every single facility runs the exact same calibration standards on the exact same printing hardware. Printify's marketplace model, by its very nature, introduces significant variance. You might find a provider offering an incredibly cheap base cost, but they might be using older, poorly maintained direct-to-garment printers, or, that they might rush the curing process, which leads to prints that peel or fade really quickly.
Okay, but I am going to push back on this idea for a second. This idea that Printify is wildly variable while Printful is perfectly consistent.
Okay, let's hear it.
because the data that merchants actually rely on kind of contradicts that. If
Mhm.
you pull up the Shopify App Store right now, both Printful and Printify are sitting at a 4.7-star rating with thousands of reviews, and Gelato is at 4.8 stars.
Mhm.
If Printify's quality was really a huge gamble, wouldn't the aggregate data on the App Store reflect a much lower score?
You'd think so, but App Store ratings are a dangerously misleading metric for evaluating physical supply chains.
No, so.
Those aggregate star ratings primarily reflect the software experience. They tell you how easy the app is to install, how smooth the digital mockup generator is, and, how responsive customer support is when an order gets lost in the mail.
Ah, I see.
Right. They do not tell you how your highly detailed, specific digital design is going to physically render on your chosen blank garment from one specific third-party facility in Printify's network. The software ratings simply cannot capture the physical variables of ink saturation and fabric absorption.
Wow, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
This is exactly why you cannot rely on digital mockups or app reviews. You have to mandate physical sampling. You aren't evaluating the software, you are evaluating the actual hands loading the garment onto the platen.
Right. And beyond just the ink on the fabric, there is the whole unboxing experience. If a customer is paying premium boutique prices for your brand, the delivery needs to feel premium.
It has to.
And Printful offers the most comprehensive first-party branding tools here. For 99 cents, they will print your custom logo on the inside neck label of the shirt. But more importantly, for a 50-cent picking fee, they will actually pack your orders in your own custom mailer bags.
That's a game changer for brand builders.
It really is. You physically mail your branded poly mailers to their warehouses. They store them in bins on their facility floor. And when your order comes through, their staff manually pulls your specific bag to ship the product. That level of custom packaging is rare. I mean, it excludes bulky items like drinkware or hats, but for apparel, it's amazing.
And see, Printify really struggles with that level of custom logistics, specifically because they don't own the warehouses.
Right? You can't mail bags to 80 different random facilities.
Exactly. They do offer packaging inserts starting at around 15 cents, but out of their 80 providers, I think only 5 actually support that feature right now.
Wow, only 5.
Yeah. Now, Gelato does offer custom neck labels starting at 49 cents, but there's a catch. That specific feature is locked behind their Gelato Plus Gold subscription tier.
So you have to pay just to unlock the ability to pay for labels.
Right, adding a big upfront cost before you even print your first label. So for comprehensive, accessible unboxing control, Printful definitely remains the safest infrastructure.
Okay, so we have focused really heavily on standard logistics and U.S. audiences so far. But what if your primary customer base is in Europe, or you're trying to expand into the Australian market? The math on shipping fees changes, obviously, but more importantly, the sheer environmental waste of traditional e-commerce becomes glaringly obvious.
Oh, it's terrible. And this is where Gelato's localized algorithmic routing fundamentally changes the game. Currently, 90% of Gelato's orders are produced locally within the destination country.
That's incredible.
By printing the product in the exact same region as the buyer, they cut physical shipping distances by up to 95%. Think about what that means for a customer in the European Union. You are bypassing international customs duties, you're avoiding border clearance delays, and you are literally turning a 2-week transatlantic transit time into a 2-day local delivery.
The 2026 guide actually includes this fascinating quote from Henrik Miller Hansen, the founder and CEO of Gelato, highlighting the insanity of traditional retail.
Oh, I love this quote.
Yeah, he says, a traditional retailer is sitting there a couple of times a year trying to guess the demand for, say, red T-shirts. They may sell half and the rest is burned or landfilled. Production on demand partly addresses that. The next generation of production capabilities will allow most of what's around you to be produced locally.
It's so true.
Right. I mean, think about it. A traditional clothing brand orders a massive container ship of inventory based on a guess. And then they write off the unsold stock as a loss and physically dump it in a landfill. It's insane.
And this raises an important question about the longevity of our current global supply chains. Because Gelato is not just offering faster shipping times to international customers. Their API is actively executing a decentralized manufacturing philosophy.
Yeah.
By connecting existing independent local print shops into a global software network, they ensure that a physical product simply does not exist until the exact moment a localized buyer pays for it.
No more guessing.
Exactly. It completely eliminates the capital risk of holding inventory, and it drastically reduces the carbon footprint associated with global freight.
Okay, so we have this landscape now where Printify leverages subscriptions to win on U.S. apparel margins. Printful leverages their vertically integrated facilities to win on premium brand control and packaging. And Gelato leverages a decentralized local network to win on international reach and sustainability. So what does this all mean? How does a merchant actually choose a single platform to run their business?
Well, the secret is you do not choose a single platform.
Wait, really?
Really. The technical architecture of Shopify actively supports a deliberate multi-app split strategy. You can install all 3 apps simultaneously on your store, and they won't interfere with each other's code.
Oh, wow. This completely changes the operational playbook.
Totally.
Because that means your merchandise line is not a monolith. Like, you can configure your store's backend to route your premium heavyweight hoodies. The items that really require custom neck labels and branded packaging. You route those directly to Printful.
Yep.
But then you can route your high-margin, less complex items, like coffee mugs or standard promotional tees, through Printify to maximize your margin.
Exactly.
And then you can map your shipping zones so that any order originating in Europe or Australia just automatically routes over to Gelato for local fulfillment.
And from the customer's perspective, they have no idea. They just see a cohesive storefront. If they add a Printful hoodie and a Printify mug to the exact same cart, Shopify's backend just pings both apps, combines the data, and presents a single blended shipping rate at checkout.
That is essentially building a custom supply chain using these apps like Lego blocks.
It is, but implementing that split strategy requires rigorous preliminary testing. We always recommend a strict head-to-head protocol before committing your catalog to any routing setup.
Right, don't just guess.
Exactly. You take your best-selling digital design, you apply it to the exact same blank garment across your top 2 apps, and you order physical samples. But, and this is crucial, you do not ship them to your office.
Oh, interesting. Where do you send them?
You ship them to a residential address in your primary target market. You need to log the actual transit time through the local postal service. Then, you inspect the print saturation under the exact same lighting, and you calculate the real-world landed cost based on the actual invoice you receive.
Now, the guide also touches on some niche alternatives, just in case the major players do not fit your specific product needs.
Yeah, there are a few others out there.
Right. There is an app called Spread Connect, which caters to very specific merchandise niches, but they currently sit at a lower 3.6-star rating, which usually indicates some potential software or fulfillment friction.
Definitely something to watch out for.
And the guide also explicitly warns merchants to completely ignore older tutorials recommending custom CAD because their integration is just outdated and they're actually no longer even listed on the Shopify App Store. So really, the safest, most robust infrastructure relies on testing those big 3.
And the absolute key to that head-to-head testing protocol is setting a kill criterion before the samples even arrive in the mail.
What do you mean by kill criterion?
You decide in advance what specific operational failure will instantly disqualify an app from your supply chain. Like if the red ink appears washed out, or if the order takes more than 7 days to clear the facility, you just cut that provider from your routing logic immediately. You let the physical evidence make the final business decision, not the theoretical margins on some spreadsheet.
Okay, let's recap the ultimate playbook for navigating these platforms. If your business model relies on pushing high volumes of standard apparel to a U.S. audience, and you need to aggressively protect your margins, you lean into Printify and you utilize their premium subscription.
Right.
If you are building a boutique brand where custom packaging and perfectly consistent in-house quality control are your primary selling points, you build your catalog on Printful.
Yeah.
And if you're targeting a global audience and want to leverage local production to cut international shipping times and completely bypass customs, you integrate Gelato. Just ensure you are actually running your specific products and target regions through a landed cost calculator before finalizing your retail prices.
Absolutely. And, looking at the mechanics of these platforms, it really reveals a massive shift in how physical goods move around the world.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, if local print-on-demand networks can utilize API routing to virtually eliminate inventory guesswork, completely erase thousands of miles of international freight, and just entirely stop the landfill waste problem for apparel, what other massive wasteful industries are about to be decentralized by software? Are we literally looking at the underlying infrastructure for the future of all retail?
It is an incredible shift to think about. What starts as a simple choice between 3 apps, what we all just assumed was Coke, Pepsi, and RC Cola, is actually a fundamental decision on how you want to plug your business into the future of global manufacturing. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Stay insanely curious, take these technical insights, build a custom supply chain that actually serves your margins, and go apply it directly to your store. We will catch you next time.